Ooh, that's weird.
I guess we
Oh,
should
wow.
start the show.
Yeah, I guess we should start the fucking show. Jesus Christ. World's got to revolve around name off. That's
No, we don't have to yet.
I forgot that. No, I think we kind of do. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. Tonight, we are going to be drinking a Jim Beam product. We have been... Yeah, Ryan, did you notice how nicely everything arrived to you?
I thought it was a shit job. I didn't think there was enough packing peanuts. You could have done better.
I had to smush the box down. There were so many packing peanuts. Yeah.
That's right.
And do you notice? Do you notice that around the edges and in between the bottles, there are packing peanuts that I literally slid in between them to make sure that while they were shipping, they didn't bang into each other. Or if they like the box gets thrown, there's packing peanuts between the box and the bottles so that they don't get.
I'm going to use
shattered.
everything that's in that box and send it. Like when I send my samples next.
Yeah, because your cheap ass won't. Yeah, because your cheap ass won't. Like I sent you fucking links for everything that you could.
Where do you
everything
buy
you could possibly
peanuts, man? I probably at a pack, at a FedEx or something.
Or you could click the goddamn link that I sent you.
I support
one
local.
of the links I
don't
sent
go to
you.
Amazon. I don't use Amazon.
Or you can just go to Home Depot or Lowe's. Pretty much any store
Office
where you
Max.
buy supplies of some kind will have it.
Well,
Office
thank you
Max,
for putting
man.
enough in there for me to use it again to send back to you. I'm sending you back all your stuff you bought. I mean, that's cool.
Fucking Ryan.
Well, you're using the word. You're saying that's cool. What you mean is that's the bare minimum. That's what you mean.
When you opened the box I sent, were you like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yes, I was.
I still can't get over how the label is like 3 letters, but it goes all. You left the entire label all the way around and taped it vertically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it was like you were trying to be a dick.
It was a better presentation than this.
No, it wasn't. And
no, it wasn't.
It was also worse to like remove it in the first place because it was stuck on the glass, and there was like 6 of them.
Like I put those labels on the cap for a very, very specific reason. Because then I don't have to like you, I'm thinking of you, and you don't have to like remove the adhesive that like the gumminess when you pull the tape off.
I was thinking of you too. I'm like, these are expensive bourbons. I don't want, especially Steven, to get confused because he didn't listen to me. So I'm sorry. I was just being precautious.
No, you weren't. Anyway, back to shit that matters instead of name off, dumbass. Tonight we are going to be drinking a Beam Suntory product, Jim Beam. Tonight we're going to be drinking Baker's 7-year. And folks, if you go to the store and you try to find this bottle, you're going to have a hard time, very hard time. They switched the bottles 2+ years ago. And I've been trying to kill this bottle only for about 1.5 years. They had the new bottles out when I grabbed this one, and I decided to go with the small batch instead of they switched over to a single barrel when they switched to a different bottle style. So this bottle is about 1.5 years old, and I've been wanting to kill it. I love it, but I need shelf space. So that's literally the only reason we're drinking it tonight. But why don't we get started with this label rating, Steven? What do you think of this one?
Well, I am a bigger fan of the newer Baker's labels, to be honest.
Same.
I think that this guy gets a 4. This is, it's not like, I'm not going to super trash it because I think the B is nice and distinctive. And I kind of like the boldness of just having mainly a B on there, frankly. But there's just not a lot to this one. They're doing a black rectangle with a big white B and then a few details at the bottom. There's not a lot to say about this label, but the new ones to me are far superior to it. The new ones I would probably give something like maybe a 7, 6. 6 is safe, but maybe even a 7. I think they're pretty good color scheme, pretty good font choice and everything. These guys are just, I don't know. There's something very. I said this about Eagle Rare, but I would also say it about your particular Booker's bottle or
Yeah.
Booker's. How many times am I going to do that this episode? Say Booker's instead
Yeah.
of Baker's. But the Baker's bottle you've got, to me, it's something about it makes it look like a wine bottle.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the bottle shape or something, but I just feel like the label and everything makes it look more like wine than bourbon. So 4.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think that Beam Suntory recognized the same thing, which is probably a big reason why they switched the bottle style up. Steven, during the editing process, could you like throw up a picture of the new version, the new appearance? I don't have one, or I'd show the folks now, but I don't have one right now.
Yeah, I'll just do it in post.
Okay, cool. So
I like that simplicity of the old bottle. I feel like every new bourbon bottle that's revamped or new bourbon, it's that same industrial look to it.
Mhm.
I feel like it looks like every modern bourbon bottle now, and it doesn't really stand off on the shelf for me. But
I understand.
just my opinion, man.
You're around the product more than me, so I think you're more attuned to like the trends and stuff. So I think there's probably validity there where you're saying like they all look industrial. To me, if you were to ask me what the overall look of whiskey is, I wouldn't have said industrial. And I'm not saying I'm right. You see more product than I do. But I would have said that they all go with that kind of like old-timey sort of like medicinal look. A lot of them do. Or like a Western type look. So that's interesting to hear you say that. But maybe that is the case. Maybe they're all getting homogenous.
One thing I want to throw out there is that all Jim Beam products, like their higher end Bakers and Bookers and like some of the Knob Creek, they use this black wax and it has a little tear strip. And I have a fucking hard time getting that wax. It's like the wax is always too solid to like the little pull strip always tears off on me every goddamn time. And that's why there's a huge gap, because I then have to like find an electrical knife and cut the son of a bitch. And then like in the process, I'm tearing up wax. It's just a goddamn mess every time. So,
Does that new, it doesn't, I mean, I'm looking at pictures of the new bottle.
Yeah, the new one doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah. It's more of a, I will say like the bottle itself doesn't really stand out for me, but I do really like their new like cork in the actual top of the bottle. When Steven puts it in, you'll be able to see it a little more, but
because it's got that
cool.
rim. You like that wider rim.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think there's an age statement on there too, like right on the rim. So
yeah,
that's my favorite part of the bottle. Yeah, I know on that one too. Yeah, but on the new one, it's kind of more distinct.
Yeah. So one thing about Bakers to keep in mind is I'm going to start talking about the one we're drinking tonight, and then I'm going to talk very briefly about the revised bottle that Bakers puts out. But this one that we're going to be drinking tonight is 107 proof. It's aged a minimum of 7 years. When it was this style, it was small batch. So they would mix up a bunch of barrels together to get the Baker's profile, and then they'd bottle that. SRP was and still is $60, and the mash bill is still the same, which is 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley. The difference is when they switched from this bottle to the new version, it looks different, completely different, but it's still bottled at 107 proof. It's now no longer a small batch. It's now a single barrel. SRP is still $60. And did I mention that the new bottle is still also aged a minimum of 7 years? Okay. Yeah. If I didn't, now I did. If I did before, whatever. But on the new bottle, it's got an age statement of 7 years, but on that bottle, it also tells you the exact day that it was barreled and the exact day it was bottled. And typically, oftentimes, what you find with the new version of Baker's is that it's not being aged the minimum, which is the 7 years, you're going to find some that are aged 8 years, 6 months, 9 years, 2 months. Yeah, so they're not pulling those barrels as soon as they hit 7 years. They are waiting for that barrel to get the flavor profile that they want from bakers. And a really important distinction is that back when it was this bottle, being small batch, you could walk into 5 different stores and grab, like all over the country, buy those bottles clearly from different batches, and they would have a flavor that was almost identical to each other. Now that it's single barrel, that's not the case. Anytime, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. If it's a single barrel, you're going to have some broad deviations in flavor profiles. So that is both a plus and a minus when it comes to the new bakers, because you might find one that's just a really, really sweet, like when I say sweet, I don't mean sweet tasting, just like a perfect barrel. And you're going to have some other ones that aren't going to fit the profile that you expect. But they're still going to be good because it's bakers and it's good stuff. So I talked at length about that, but I think it's important since there's that changeover. And you could still see some of these on the shelf. There's a couple places I've walked in and I still see the old small batch sitting there, sometimes right next to the single barrel. Want to give it a go?
Cheers.
Cheers. Beautiful color,
Cheers.
by the way, on it.
Oh, yeah.
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 Just like most Jim Beam products, it's got a really nutty nose to it. Baking spices.
Yeah.
It's got that classic Ryan caramel.
The caramel, a little vanilla too. It's very nutty.
A little
All around,
tobacco.
even
A little bit of tobacco
yeah.
in it. I don't say that often. I know people usually say that in whiskey. I don't usually pick that up that often, but here I definitely get a little hint of tobacco at the start.
My first sip of this we did right before we started recording, and I didn't really like it. Now the more I drink it, the more I like it. Yeah.
So like one of the, I don't think it's got a great nose to it. I think it's got a great flavor to it, and I think it's got a great finish to it. Like those two things to me is where Baker's really stands out. Like because it's super complex. You've got like different flavors hitting your tongue and your mouth at different times, and then once you do swallow, you've got all of these other flavors that randomly pop up. Like I get like oh, fucking name off. Hey Noah, do you want to join the show? Take Ryan's place.
Come on, I had
to. But like when I start tasting it, I pick up like a deep caramel flavor, right? Like not quite to the level of toffee, but like more than your standard like light caramel. It's like a burnt caramel is what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like a burnt caramel, or like I wouldn't necessarily say molasses, but maybe like almost like some type of syrup or something as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, like a heavy, not like coffee syrup, but like I think that you're actually pretty close on with that as far as molasses goes, Steven.
Yeah.
Like it's got a thick feel to it. And a lot of sweetness right up front, and then almost like a Captain Morgan spiced rum that like kind of comes into it as well.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And then there's the spiciness and like pepper spiciness to it too.
Or maybe more of a Sailor Jerry, Dan.
Yeah, please.
I've never had Sailor Jerry.
Call the rum by its Christian name, Dan. Please.
So a second ago, I was getting ready to talk. Ryan, you asked about the new version of Baker's. It's got all of the same characteristics that this has. It's just that because it's a single barrel, they're not identical to what we're tasting here. You've still got that deep sweetness. You've still got that like spicy, like a spiced rum type, and it doesn't taste like rum. There's nothing about it that tastes like rum.
No.
But like the spices that go into spiced rum, you kind of pick up just from the oak itself. That's why I keep mentioning the spiced rum. It's got all of those same characteristics. It's just that now, I wouldn't say like there are some people I've heard that prefer the single barrel now. There are other people who miss this version of this the small batch version. I can't really speak intelligently enough about where I stand on that. But you're going to get the same types of flavors. It's just from barrel to barrel. Some aspects are going to be stronger, some are going to be weaker, and where they fall. It's going to be up to your individual taste buds.
Do you think Baker's is a big enough brand? Because I don't represent it. This is the first time I've ever had it, actually, and I like it a lot. It's good. Do their sales dictate them having more lineage on their product line? You know, like, can they have a small batch, a single barrel? Is that something that you don't think so?
No, and my reason is because if they were going to do the small batch, they would put a Knob Creek stamp on it. So, or they'd bottle it barrel proof and throw a Booker's stamp on it, right? So, like, you know, Jim Beam, huge distillery. They've got their Knob Creek line that is gigantic, and
which, by the way, it's a pain in the ass to open the wax in the Knob Creeks as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and the Makers.
Makers is easy. To me, Makers is easy.
I'm just not a fan of the wax in general.
To me, the Makers uses like a softer wax. It's not as hard. So like that soft, and it's thinner too. It's a thinner wax. So when you pull on it, you don't have to worry about that strip breaking. But these, like, I'm not shitting you. There have been times I've been opening either a Knob Creek or a Baker's, and I felt like I needed pliers. And then you snap the goddamn, I'm not kidding. Look how thick that is.
It's more like tar or like,
yeah,
the way it sticks.
So, so Jim Beam, huge distillery. They've got their Booker's, which is, it's a small batch bourbon, but they bottle it at barrel proof. Then they've got Baker's. Then they've got their whole Knob Creek line, which is a huge lineup, huge. And so I think that if they were going to have like there's no reason for them to split up Baker's small batch, Baker's single barrel, because they can just slide the small batch into one of their other number of phenomenal bourbons that they produce.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But you don't carry them? I thought you handled Beam Suntory. I
don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do not. For the other guys.
Okay. For some reason,
this podcast is branching out because, you know, in my job, you drink what you sell, you know, and it might. I mean, it's probably looked down upon a little bit to even do this. You know, I don't like brands you don't sell. You don't want to promote, and I don't think I'm doing any sort of like promotion about this. We're just tasting whiskey and saying what we feel, but brands switch hands so often that I could be selling this at some point too. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, I've been introduced to a lot of Beam products. I know Elijah Craig's not Beam, but they're great too. So it's been nice. I like this a lot. I don't see it. I don't see it on the shelves hardly ever anymore, or Booker's for that matter. It's really hard to find, at least in my world.
I was just going to say a minute ago, speak to your point about, you know, it kind of being looked down on in your industry. To me, I get it on one hand, on the other I don't, just because to me it's not like you're buying a Mercedes or a Lexus or something like that. This is a bottle of whiskey. Like, eventually it's going to run out and people are going to try other stuff. You know what I mean? And the guy who buys something and he only buys that one thing forever, he was either already your market or he wasn't anyway, and he wasn't going to change. But the people that are going to try some stuff and real bourbon fans are going to find your product if it's a good product. They just are. There's enough out there, people drinking it now, that if you just keep making good stuff, people will come back. They may go away. They may try bakers or whatever. They'll be back if you have a good product, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, so my thought is very similar to Steven's. I see both sides of the aisle. Like one of the things that, if I was your boss and for some reason I had to defend or not defend you to my boss, I would defend you and say, look, at the end of the day, Ryan's a salesperson. He needs to be knowledgeable not only about our products, but he also needs to be knowledgeable about the competition. Yeah. The more knowledge he's got, the better he can, sell our products. Yeah. And
skew a conversation where if I know this tastes one certain way and I know my bourbon tastes another certain way.
Yep.
I'm gonna be like, I like these flavor profiles a lot more, and I think you would too.
Yeah.
So on that end, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So I agree. It's like a catch-22,
Yeah, it really is. It is. So.
But that's the beautiful thing about our visits, man. I might be representing something else tomorrow. I might lose something tomorrow. You're seeing a lot of consolidation in the business from all aspects, from suppliers, like beer companies buying beer companies, like you see with InBev and everything, and even distributors just coming together too. So, and I'm sure with COVID and everything, you're going to be seeing that a lot more, which is good and bad,
Stephen, it looked like you were about to say something a second ago.
Yeah, I wanted to be sure to mention this is not directly related or anything to what we're talking about, although tangentially, but this past weekend I was able to stop by Lebanon Wine and Spirits for the first time.
That was your first time?
Yep, it was my first time. Unfortunately,
I didn't realize.
Shout out to Jose. Did not get to see Jose, unfortunately, because I was planning to come Saturday, but I ended up having to go Sunday. But even so, it was a nice visit. I found a few gems.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to meet D?
I can't remember the person's name who I met.
Were there two Indian dudes there?
There was one Indian dude there.
Was he young or old?
Young.
Okay, so that was D.
Okay.
D is one of our listeners. D listens to us regularly. D, shout out to you. He's a great kid. He's studying at SIUE right now.
Go Cougars.
Go Cougars. And he's a good kid.
Well, shout out to D. I'm sorry I wasn't aware of this at the time, or I didn't remember this at the time. I would have said more than I did. It was a short conversation. It was mainly about Jose, so I apologize for that. But
did he know? Did he recognize you?
Not that he said, but again, I'm also wearing I had like a jacket on and I had a face mask on. So,
well, so the other one that it may have been would have been Jay. So there's D and there's Jay, and Jay is also young, but like D is clearly a college kid. Jay is clearly not a college kid. But they're both, Jay's probably about you guys' age, probably. Maybe a little bit younger than.
So it could have been Jay.
It could have been Jay.
So
who doesn't listen?
Jay does not listen to our show.
I think the other guy would have recognized you. He would have definitely recognized you.
Yeah.
With that haircut.
I don't know. In Lebanon, Illinois, I don't know.
Did you have your hood on or no?
No.
Not hoodie. Not your hood.
I get you.
Yeah.
So I wanted if I can show off for a few seconds.
Yeah, please do. Oh, shoot.
Little bourbon cream, boys.
You didn't even have to win a raffle.
No, I was telling Jesse, I was like, I might have to get this. And she's like, why? And I'm just like, because I can. All right.
You need to go to all the liquor stores around and be like, you see this, bitches?
Yeah.
See what I got here?
I should open up my own little store. Why? And then the one other thing I got, of course, I could have bought a bunch in there, but the one other thing I chose to buy while I was there.
Oh, yeah.
Early times well, because yet again, this is something I couldn't get. I very nearly got some Elijah Craig rye while I was there.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't is because we're about to start Rye Month.
Yeah.
On the podcast, and I thought that. Now I don't know if I'll see either one on this side of the river, but I was like, I'm pretty darn sure I'm not going to see Early Times.
No, you won't.
I'm waiting to see how the Elijah Craig shakes out. I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I waited on that one.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good call, and I have not tried the Elijah Craig rye as of yet. I'm also not in a huge rush to try it. Like I don't feel like that's not going to be like the Elijah Craig toasted, right? Like it doesn't have the additional process that toasted takes, so they can, honest to God, just pump it out a lot faster than they can the toasted barrel. So yeah, I'm not in a huge rush to give it a go. And yeah, anyway.
I think it'll be good. I think like it for
I'm sure
if it's available always as like a $31 rye, I think it's going to be a great rye option.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep. Hey, I wanted to get back to something Ryan, you said about Bakers. You said you don't see it up there by you.
You know, with the new, I'm seeing it a little bit more, but Bakers and Bookers usually are empty on the shelves.
No
and this
kidding.
is just from a corporate level.
Yeah.
Because I don't deal with like the independent stores, but yeah, corporately, I don't see it a lot.
Okay.
I definitely see Bakers more than I see Bookers.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both not the easiest to get for sure.
Yeah, so down here, Booker's is really hard to get. Doesn't matter if you're on the Illinois side or the Missouri side. It's always a challenge. They don't put out a whole lot. It's got a very high desirability factor to it.
Not like 3 years ago. That would just collect dust on shelves.
Oh, absolutely,
now,
they did.
Yeah, I mean, they were disgusting bottles, and not that they were.
The juice was good. The juice was good,
and the bottle's cool, and the packaging's great, but there was just so much dust on these bottles. I'm like, who the hell's gonna buy that? Someone's got to clean that off, you know. And now,
and it's $90, you know, $85-$90. So you're just like, I'm not paying $85-$90 for something nobody's wanted because it's collecting dust bunnies on it.
Yeah, and now there's not enough time in the day for it to collect dust because it's
Correct.
gone before it even gets to the store.
Correct. Now, see, down here, Baker's is very easy to come by. Stores either carry it or they don't carry it. If they carry it, it's available. If they don't carry it, then obviously it's not available. And I think, honest to God, Baker's has got to be one of the most underrated bourbons that are out there. I think that for the ease of finding it and how good it is at $55-$60, like the SRP is technically $60, but I find it pretty regularly at $55. Yeah, so for the price and what you're getting and how easy it is to find, at least on the Illinois side, and I think on the Missouri side too, Stephen. I think Baker's.
She's finding it.
No, okay. Yeah, I think it's very underrated. It's better than people give it credit for, in my opinion.
I really like this. It's good.
So, Stephen, do you want to tell both our listeners your big news?
Well, earlier, right now there's not a ton of news to say, honestly, other than the one thing that we know, which is that we're under contract for a house now. Because of how things work in the current market, I guess. Kind of against all odds. It sounds like we are getting a house, or at least starting the process to get a house, and we did it under the listing price. So who knows what horrors await us over the next 30 days or so as we attempt to close.
That's very rare right now.
Yeah. But Stephen, I like, you're not gonna get rid of the amazing background that you have, are you?
Oh no!
Like when you move into the house, that's staying.
I want to assure the viewers, I'll come back here if I have to. This all stays. This is my set. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture if I have to, although that's a cheap imitation, or I'll recreate this exactly at the next place. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be the set. Don't worry.
I would hope so. Like,
do you like we kind of like really shittily put a few pillows there now, or a few blankets there now.
Blankets.
Do you like that? How do you feel about that?
Like, did you shit on them, or are they just discolored?
Oh no no. Well, they
Poop
probably are
brown. Yeah.
discolored, but it's a glorious wolf. Give me one moment.
Oh, a glorious. Wow. Wow.
There's a kid who I went to high school with. All he wore were wolf shirts every single
That
day.
is. Wow. That's the only words that I can actually like think of to say right now. Just wow.
That's my wolf blanket. So I try to channel the energy of a wolf sometimes when I'm in here doing IT work.
I will say this. It's what? The 10th of the month? Do not try to close by the end of this month. I would put a nice June 1 deadline.
We're doing June like 9th or something like that is the plan.
Yeah.
It's like right
because we closed at the end of a month and then not closed. We offered and then it was 30 days and then we closed on the house and it was terrible. And all you do is send the same information over and over. And there's like 5 different people who work for the companies and none of them talk to each other. So they're like, I need this, this, and this. I'm like, I just emailed it to this guy. Doesn't matter. I need it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We're expecting that kind of stuff. Oh, listen to this. There's a guy at work, a friend of mine, who I heard a couple weeks ago, like as of like a couple weeks ago, he's been prepping his house to put on the market in a similar area to what we just bought in. And he was telling us like ahead of time, he was like, he knew I was in the market and he was like, hey, we're going to put our house for sale. It was in our price range. And he was like, I'm doing some repairs and stuff now. I don't know exactly when we're going to list it yet. But it was kind of like we were talking and basically he was insinuating that he would kind of like maybe let us see the place before it went on the market or whatever, or at least know exactly when it went on the market one way or another. And then we talked and it was like kind of the same stuff on Friday and he was saying some repairs he was working on. But then today on Monday, he was just saying about how like they got approached by like 3 different couples over the last couple of days that like got wind that they were going to go on the market from different people. And then like one of them is already like offering over what he was planning to list at.
Why even do the repairs?
Right, yeah. Exactly. And you know what he said? He was like, I feel like I'm kind of shortchanging myself in that way that I'm not getting to do all I want. I'm like, who cares? You're getting over what you were going to ask.
Yeah.
You haven't even listed. You
know
what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was kind of telling me like what the market is like on the flip side of things right now. And he was telling me that he had to like fire his like first, like fire, quote unquote, I guess you'd say, his first realtor because they came in and they were telling him like all these things they needed to change, like whether it be the like, the tile in the bathroom was out of date or like this or that. But he's like, look, it's not that bad. Like he's like, our house is not that dated in those rooms you're talking about. And besides, the new person's going to come in anyway and just tear that out anyway if they don't like it. So what's the point? And the point was that realtor wanted to list it for like 40 grand more than they wanted to sell it at. And he didn't want to put in, he's like, look, I can't afford to put in like $15,000 to $20,000 on this right now just to make potentially 40 later. It's like, it kind of is what it is. And we'll repair what's needed in the meantime. And they couldn't see eye to eye there. But then he's like, but then she turned around and was showing us all these other houses when they were looking. She was showing him houses where like every room they got different colored carpet and shit. And he's like, how come that can fly when you're showing me places? So he cut her loose and brought somebody else in that was like actually willing to list his house basically as is.
Recognized basically that oh man, that was sexist to me. She or he, the real estate agent, recognized that the real estate agent worked for the seller. Shocking.
Right.
And what'd you guys do for your moms for Mother's Day?
I took.
You go first, Ryan. It'll be shorter.
Guaranteed.
No, we took my mom out to dinner a couple nights before we left. Okay. A nice Italian meal,
Yeah.
I spent over $100, which
this is
all
him,
about the
guys.
fucking
This
money.
is him
No, well,
milking the time. He's
no,
got it.
I
He's
no,
stretching it,
I know.
man,
I know.
because he was
I know.
gonna just be dinner.
Steven probably took his mom to Burger King or something, or Burger Chef or whatever it's called in Centralia. That I do want to try because it did sound good.
Burger
No,
Haven,
took her there.
dude.
Burger Haven. That's what it is. No, took her out to dinner, and the wife bought her a bunch of gifts. So, you know how it goes.
Bunch of gifts.
I have a bunch of home stuff, that I would never buy or think to buy.
Yeah, because you were gonna eat anyway that night, and you were like, "Mom, you want to come along? I'll pay for yours."
That's true. Yeah, I was gonna eat. No, we took her to a nice place, to her favorite restaurant, one of her favorite restaurants over here. So
Applebee's.
Yeah.
Had the chicken parm.
Yeah.
So it's Italian.
I remember at Olive Garden once for that bar crawl that we do, and it was Valentine's Day, and everyone's like, "Can you imagine taking your significant other here for Valentine's Day at Olive Garden?"
Imagine sitting next to them and hearing that and being like, "Fuck."
and we're all there, and they have like, "Yeah, we got $15 bottles of wine, like nice bottles." We're like, "Oh yeah, just like bring like 5 of them over." And then there's all these people there on dates. I'm like, this is sad.
I once referred to Olive Garden as Walmart with breadsticks. Like that's what Olive Garden is.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. So, Steven, what'd you do for your mom?
I went to see her for like the first time in almost a year. There was like one time where we had like a brief picnic around like, I want to say my dad's birthday, something like that. And but other than that, hadn't seen him for a year. So we went, Jesse and I went and spent the night there. Just spent time with him doing whatever. I was helping my dad set up some new wireless routers, so we had like good internet. Ryan wouldn't know anything about that.
I would not.
And then we just had some meals together, and I got her a necklace. She's big into bears, so I got her a necklace that said Mama Bear on it, and it's got 4 little cubs, one for each of her kids.
So that's so nice. That's so nice. Cool. Yeah, I went and had breakfast with my mom. Took Augie, left Annie at home. I mean, that was best for everybody. I took her out for breakfast to her favorite breakfast spot. And then just spent some time talking to her and spent some time with her, and didn't get her anything special. I mean, I got her a gift, but it was nothing special. She's it was a gift card, if I'm being totally honest. You go buy whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. But that makes her happy too. That's just the way my mom is. My mom would much prefer that. So it sounds thoughtless, but it's actually thoughtful. And that was it. It was just spend some time with her, and my mom's great. I know you guys can't say that, so just want to put it out there that my mom's awesome.
Yeah, I really wish we knew to include that at the end, because it now makes us look like assholes.
I'm really good at making other people look like assholes. That's one of my rare talents.
I just need clean audio of you saying, "I love my mom," and then I'll go, "I love my mom," and then in post I'll just go back and edit it in at the end of our sentences
and cut mine. So
I love my mom.
No, don't say it. Don't do it. So what do you say? We gonna rate this bitch?
Let's do it.
Do it. Dan, how about you first?
Yeah, I'll be happy to go first. So yeah, I'm gonna give this an 8.4. I think that the proof on it is about perfect. It's a mid-high proof. With that mid-high proof, you get a lot of flavor, not a lot of alcohol burn. Don't get me wrong, you taste the alcohol, but it's a very smooth drink, full of flavor, lots of complexity to it. You know what? This is actually It's got a cinnamon flavor to it that I didn't mention earlier, but that was kind of part of the like spiced rum type of a spiciness to it. It's a really, really good pour. It's not too far off from how much like the flavor and how much I enjoy Smoke Wagon, which Ryan just flashed his small batch up there. But yeah, I really like Baker's a lot. Really love it. And I think it's good. And I think that, like I mentioned before, I think it's underrated. So if you haven't had it, I think you should. It's $55 to $60 well spent when it comes to bourbon. So I give it an 8.4.
Well,
wow.
I'm going to...
Shitty Owen Wilson impression. Sorry.
You didn't have to say the shitty part. I mean,
wow. Wow.
I'm going to be following that up. Not Ryan's impression, but Dan's rating. You can't follow Ryan's impression, really. But I'm going to follow up Dan's rating with a 7.4.
Okay.
I think, to me, it's a solid whiskey, but I would counter some of the things you said. It's just kind of where our palates diverge a little bit, I think, because I think there's a little more burn to it. I think it's a little less smooth than some we've had recently. And I also think, while it's complex and there's a lot to like about it, I'm still giving it a 7.4. I wouldn't say, while it's complex, I wouldn't say it's flavorful. I think that's my difference. I think that there's a lot of flavors you were picking up that I don't hear. I didn't get as many things. Like, I am a big fan of the Smoke Wagon. Part of that is the cinnamon sort of taste in there. And I don't pick that up at all from this personally. I think that I would now, because I'm not putting price and availability as part of it, I can easily say for my rating that I would rather have Stag Junior or something like that. Which I know it's not that easy, but just talking about them purely in form of ratings, this one's just such a step down from that to me that I can't give it above a 7.4 or somewhere in there. I just don't see myself returning to it that often. But if somebody had it and opened up a bottle for me, I'd happily drink it. So.
Okay, fair enough.
When I first took a sip, I didn't like it at all. And then Dan was like, "Oh, I guess we got to start the episode, because I got a clock in the background, or whatever you said." I like it. It's a nice setup. I was just joking. The more I drink it, the more I like it. I did not like it at first. I took a sip. I was like, "Oh," and the more I drink it, I'm like, "You're right. The proof is perfect. It doesn't bite at all. At all. I mean, I could drink that all night and be happy and be fine." That's something I would drink with my friends. Dan, if you guys came up here and had a bottle of that, like, let's just finish this bottle. I know we'll all like it and drink it. I love the nuttiness to it. I love the vanilla, that deep caramel flavor that it had. It was a little syrupy, which I liked. It's not as like decadent that I've come to like, but it's good. I'm going to give it just a solid 8.0. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, especially after that first sip, but I'm sad I don't have any more. And there's nothing left in here. And I wish there was more. So I'll come down to St. Louis soon, and we'll finish the rest of that 4 drinks in that bottle you have.
There's probably 2 at best.
2. Okay.
2 at best. One each. If it's still here, then we'll finish it off. If it's not, then I got other stuff we can drink.
Yeah, that's true.
I've got a few open bottles.
We could start off with that one.
If it's still here. Yeah, so there you have it. It's
back off,
7.
Ryan. Why are you trying to have that bottle of Booker's Ace guy? Why don't you fucking...
Because I can't find that one anymore. It's not Booker's, it's Baker's. Asshole. And I really like that one that we just had. All right, dude, go move out. Nobody cares.
I love my mom.
I love my mom.
Fuck Mother's Day.